This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by GoGo's Bootcamp. Are you a real estate agent looking for the very best media training program on the planet? GoGo Bethke is considered the top Instagram realtor in the country, and her step-by-step training program will take your social media game to the next level. Keeping It Real listeners receive a special discount, so please visit gogopodcast.com. That's GOGO podcast.com for your special discount. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name is DJ Paris. I am your guide and host through the show. And today is our monthly Coaching Moments episode with Ryan DiApril. Now, if you're not familiar with Ryan, or if you're new to the show, Ryan comes on every month to give our listeners and our viewers a coaching moment and a coaching session. So let me tell you about Ryan. Ryan is a progressive thought leader focused on providing for his agents and staff at DiApril Properties. His strengths are his motivational skills, coaching style, and his dedication to training. He has 14 offices throughout Chicagoland and is also in Wisconsin, Indiana, and Michigan with hundreds and hundreds of top producing realtors. DiApril Properties is a coaching company with 8 strategic coaches who work week in and week out with every agent individually, focused on business planning, coaching, and accountability. If you'd like to take your career to the next level, or if you're just not getting the attention you need, check out DiApril Properties. Visit DiAprilProperties.com. That's DAPRILE properties.com. Welcome once again, Ryan.
Thanks, DJ. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to speak to you. It's been a while, and it's exciting. The weather's getting a bit warmer for probably most of our audience, and we're rolling out vaccinations, which is exciting, and seems like we're starting to get back to some normalcy.
Yeah, it's around the corner. I feel like a lot of people are getting back. I think I have mine on Friday. I'm getting my vaccination shot.
Nice.
I had mine on Saturday, my first one.
I need to get one. I haven't been able to book mine yet, but everyone else in my family has had it done. So and I'm actually traveling to see them in a few weeks. So I'm going to try to get it, but if not, oh well. But yeah, so what do we want to talk about today?
Sure. So, obviously for our listeners, we're all here to share best practices and mind share and whatnot. So what I thought we'd do today is I have one of our real estate agents come and join us. Okay. And, Deidre is a wonderful person. She's a great friend, and she's a hell of a real estate agent. She's been doing this for 5 years now in the business, and her career total is over $125 million in real estate sold. Last year, she hit $37 million in production, and that is, for the listeners, that is Deidre's personal production. Deidre doesn't have a team, and she's out there. She's in flow with her network. She's the epitome of coachable. And I think one of the things that all of us have to think about is, are we coachable or not? And we're going to tap or touch on a couple of those things and what works. And the whole purpose behind this is for, our listeners here to be inspired, be motivated, and get some knowledge sharing out of this that they can apply to their day-to-day business, right?
Absolutely. And I almost wonder what percentage of realtors in their 5th year have a 30 plus million, almost $40 million year. It's got to be less than 1%, and just truly, truly remarkable. So congratulations and welcome, Deidre, to the show. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's go down memory lane. You excited for this? We're gonna have fun with this. So I want to go back really quick though, DJ. What you talked about is, I wonder how many agents in their 5th year hit a $37 million production.
Yeah.
And for all the listeners, I want you guys to really hang on to these words that I want to tell you. That's just simply a choice that you make.
Yeah.
Anybody can have it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
It's not rocket science, right?
No.
It's following a system and being dedicated.
It's following your system. I mean,
It's not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what you taught me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's following a system.
Something Deidre also has that is really important is drive.
Yeah.
And she's also, and I don't mean to embarrass you here, but she surrenders, she's coachable, she's humble,
I don't know what you're going to say there.
Yeah, right. I'm going to compliment you. And, but all those things take into place. This is a highly emotional business, isn't it?
Yes.
How many times do you cry a year over transactions?
Not really. No. I'm getting tougher.
Yeah, but it's not easy.
No, it's emotional.
And I think it's important for the listeners to hear that somebody at your level, and you're high up there in production,
Yeah.
Have moments of it real, and it gets to you, correct?
100%.
Yeah. It's called being a human.
Yes.
And right now, in particular, it can be really difficult as an agent if you're working with buyers because the multiple offer situation is so real and so prevalent that agents, even really top producing agents that I know, are like constantly frustrated because, of course, rates are so low and everyone's looking to purchase, and there just isn't a whole lot of inventory. So I imagine life is still stressful, but you're obviously persevering and doing well through it. And I would love to hear sort of how you're managing all those expectations from your buyers and sellers.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that. So I wonder where we should start. Should we start there? Should we talk about the basically Deidre and how she got to where she is?
Let's go all the way back to the beginning. I'd love to hear your origin story, how you got into real estate, and how you became successful.
Okay. I got into real estate. Right now, I have 3 boys. When I got into real estate, my youngest was 6 months. My middle guy was 2.5, and my older one was 10.
So you had a lot of free time. You were not that busy. You had.
Yes. And it was Lindsay that encouraged me to get my license. I live just a few blocks away from them in Western Spring.
Oh, wonderful.
So I did it. I got my license. I got my license. I took the class in fall, took the test, and started, right out of the gates, right when your Hinsdale office opened.
That's right. Yep, absolutely.
And
I'll share, I don't remember the exact number, but her first year in real estate, she had like 3 or 4 transactions. And yeah.
Which is pretty good for a first year. I mean, that's not bad at all.
Right.
It is. And the reason I bring that up is because I coach so many agents, and you are looked at as a pinnacle. And they're like, well, hold on. When she first started, she did 2 or 3 deals, but she stayed true to what she needed to do and sticks with it consistently, which for if you are a repeat listener and you come back to the podcast, you know what it is that I'm talking about, which we'll go over that. And so we encourage Deidre to get her license. A couple things that I noticed about Deidre. One is her drive.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the listeners here. I think a lot of us are afraid of success, and we shouldn't be, because I believe the more success you have, actually the more freedom and quality of life you can't have. So I think she's a great example of that. She's also a connector. You know who Kevin Bacon is, right?
Sure.
The 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Sure.
There's a 7 degrees of Deidre Rudich here. And she's a really wonderful, kind person, but she has a hell of a network. And she really put into practice the philosophies and the exercise that we do to take advantage of that. And she's passionate. Deidre's a very passionate person, and that comes out, when you work with her. And I think there is nothing more you want out of life, especially, if you are a parent for your children, is to be passionate about what you do.
that's nice.
It's showing you're very passionate about it.
I love what I do.
Well,
I'm curious because in your first year you did 3 or 4 transactions, which we know in the industry is actually a pretty decent first year. However, it doesn't feel good to only do 3 or 4 transactions in your first year. So when I say that, I want to make sure that we all understand that the first several years of any real estate business is pretty trying. It's difficult. It's you're ramping up, you're doing all the activities that are eventually going to pay off. So I'm curious as how you stayed motivated with did you feel that were you happy with that year as a first year, or was it a little stressful to think, oh, is this ever going to change? Because I know so many of our listeners are maybe at that stage and they're like, how do I get to that next level? And I'm just curious if you could go back to that time and remember what that was like.
I just kept at it. I think I kept at it. And I remember what you would say is, I'll have agents that get to the 8th month and then they stop. And they stop doing the postcard. They stop doing the post. They stop doing the open house. I'm like, I just have to keep doing it And remember what we were just talking about, that thing, the mindset, we went to this mindset workshop. And literally the next day I bought a journal. I bought just some things to write down goals and to write down gratitudes every day.
Visualizing and manifesting it.
And then we did Ninja maybe a year later, and that like really put everything in perspective. It was everything that I was learning at April and then just magnified through Ninja. And I just kept, it was not easy. Like there was times where it was not easy, you know, financially, and it was stressful, but I kept going, and then it kept happening.
And as a mother with young children, I can't imagine, you know, your time, you have some real serious time constraints because of course, well, they always, what's that saying? If you want to get something done, give it to a mother because they get so much stuff done. So even the fact that, you know, I just assumed, oh, she must be single. She must not have children. She must have all the time in the world to get to 37 million. No, you're a super busy producer, and you have a busy, you know, private life as well. How do you manage both of those things? Being that you're not on a team, you're doing it yourself. How do you able to manage all of that?
You know, I don't know. I figure it out. I'm grateful. I get support from our office. Like my marketing assistant, I get a lot of support there. Lindsay, just everyone in our office is really team-based. My husband is a big supporter of my business. I don't know.
Well, let's talk about the team question here. Okay. Did you find when you were talking about a team, trying a team, was that more work or less work?
Way more work for me.
And I think
so when you participated with team activities, you found it to be more work than being a solo practitioner.
100%.
There was a time about a year and a half ago where, you know, a lot of agents think about, well, I'll start a team.
Sure.
And there's a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and they talk about mega agent. I think there's a big part of that is that the reason a lot of that is out there is because it takes the weight off the managing broker, and it is distributed to that team leader. And
definitely,
it's always the best. And I coach everybody to what they want, and I care a lot about the individuals that we deal with. And when I see people take on teams, you know, think of a triangle. Okay, think of a triangle. Think of a tip of the triangle. Okay. And I run a company, so I'm at the top of the triangle, let's just say. Then turn the triangle upside down. And that's what my life is like. And I love it. I'm passionate about it, right? I support everybody that works at my organization. I have the support team and structure involved in it. Most people that get into real estate, we sometimes forget why we got into real estate. We wanted flexibility. We want to be able more time with the family. We don't want to go to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 in an office job. We wanted to have unlimited income. And we start to achieve that. And all of a sudden, 3 years later, we see teams in the industry. And then we get down this path. A lot of times it's self-destructing. And we were working, and I'm like, so how's this team going? And how stressful was it?
It was stressful. The people that joined me were great. It was nothing, like, love them both. It just, for me, maybe I had a little bit of control issue. And like managing people was
Well, it is. And I think, and again, this is for the benefit of the listeners here. When you become a team leader, you have to understand you're putting your business last.
Yeah.
You're doing one rest. She's even bringing people on her team to grow her business through their networks. A lot of people do that with their teams. She was bringing people on her team to support her, but that means she has to give up 3, 4, 5 other things to then teach and educate, where there are other ways to doing this business. And, you know, the biggest part of real estate, I believe in anything you do, that ask yourself, why? Why am I doing this? And if it is for the support, I truly think the team, and I've coached a lot of people and that have teams, it's opposite of what you think. It is actually a lot more work.
Yeah. For me, it
was. For anybody it is. I know it is. You have to put yourself second. And you have to be developing all those people on a team. And I'm quite honestly, when you're doing 30 million, 37 million, 145 million production this year, that's a lot of money, and money is a motivator for you, is it not?
Yes.
And that's a lot to put on the line if you're that type of producer to build the team. And then understand the distribution of funds when the team happens. And we could go down that path.
It's difficult. You go from being a realtor to a manager or to a business owner, in the sense of now I have to really run this business, and there's multiple people involved. And you're right, the business does kind of go, your personal business is going to come second to the team, and it's just a totally different skill set to manage a company with employees, which is essentially what teams are, versus just running everything yourself. And I always think that oftentimes realtors who are looking to create a team might just be better served hiring some virtual assistants that can do some of the administrative tasks, which would free up more of their time. If they don't work for a company that can support them that way. But even just hiring some administrative people so you can keep focused on what you do best, which is, building your real estate business.
Right. So in your business, and it grows continuously year after year, what do you do to make your business grow? What are some of the things that you do?
Postcards. I do.
Yeah, that's it all.
I do. I don't know. I do monthly postcards. I do postcards after transactions.
So you do marketing.
I keep in
So
touch.
direct mail and email marketing.
And your postcards, are those just to your sphere, or are you farming as well, other like neighborhoods, communities, etc.?
Both farming and networking. It depends.
Got it.
So she picks a geographical farm that she markets to on a monthly basis. At the same time, she markets to her network, and she does it digitally and direct mail print.
So email and mailers. Got it.
Yeah.
And it's ran on auto flow for her, so she doesn't think about it; it just goes out.
Right.
Does that make sense? Both the email and the postcards. So what's the magic behind it? What's the next thing you do?
I really keep in touch with my past clients, current clients, my network. Like I'm in live flow. Yes, I couldn't think of that word. I really am. I mean, before COVID hit, that was a big part of it. I have 3 boys, different ages. So I'm lucky that I have a big,
So
network.
why are you lucky? Because you have 3 boys of 3 different ages. I'm just breaking this down for listeners
Because there's so many different groups of people.
it expose you to different
Yes.
networks.
Yeah.
Okay. And what percent of your business comes from your network?
All of it.
Yeah, it's probably 90%.
90.
Wow.
Yeah,
90%.
either directly through a network or network
referrals.
referrals or network, and then probably 10% from farm leads and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Within 5 years, that is an incredible statistic. 90% of your business comes from people either who already have worked with you, who know you and like you, who haven't yet worked with you, or referred from people who like you. That is truly a testament to your ability to stay connected. And so I'm curious. So once COVID hit, and we're still obviously in the middle of the pandemic, how did you stay in touch? Obviously, we know you're sending postcards, you're sending emails. Were you doing anything else to stay in touch? Were you calling people, texting, commenting on social media? What were sort of some of the strategies you employed?
Connecting via social media, but my business really ramped up during COVID.
Mhm.
It didn't stop.
But it ramped up to the 2-3 years that you put prior to
Yes.
it.
Sure, of course.
And
A lot of people were leaving the state or
just moving.
moving, upgrading, downgrading. I was.
And her being in touch is not postcards and email marketing. So let's just be
Right.
So that's just
Yeah,
marketing.
yeah.
So, and I'm going to answer you a little bit because that was the first one.
It's
you did
great.
it, right?
I like meetings.
But she sends direct messages via social media to people. She text messages. I see her at her house writing handwritten note cards.
Yep.
Note cards to people when she sees that they had a monumental moment in their life, correct?
Yes.
I'm just hoping you're
Maybe
I
you
see
did.
what you did.
Here, one
Go
thing
on.
I did
Maybe
during COVID is I dropped dinners off for people. So a woman that I work with who usually does my broker opens, every week I'd say, okay, I'm going to do these 5 dinners, this address, and then I would go she would drop them off at my house and I would hand deliver them with a note. I would let the people know it was coming.
Let me explain really quick.
Oh.
No, I want you to go on.
Yeah.
She said, this is for the listeners, this person who does my broker opens, what she meant is a caterer.
Yes.
She has a caterer that caters her broker opens.
Correct.
Go on, please.
So no, it's great. So I would just, drop off dinners for people. Sometimes I would drop off a little bottle of champagne, just ways that, people were down. People were stuck at home, thinking of ways I could engage with them and cheer them up or do something thoughtful for them as well.
Deidre really cares about people.
Mhm.
It's incredibly important to understand that for all the listeners, okay? It's the give or gain mindset that she has. And it's interesting the scarcity and the abundance difference in mindsets. And the people who don't know Deidre might think that who are in the real estate business, jealousy starts to occur, right?
Sure.
You don't know this person because she will sit down with any real estate agent and explain to them every single thing that she needs to do
For sure.
in the business.
Yeah.
This goes on beyond the real estate business, and she's delivering dinners and card. She really cares. Now, because she cares so much, a byproduct of that is an explosive business that she has. And it's one of the traits I think any of our listeners here want to take in. It's not about you, it's about your network. And if you could just really focus on them, right? That's what I love about social media. I don't use it for marketing. I use it for researching my network, developing a relationship with them. And if you could lead with caring and just thoughtfulness.
And be real. I mean, that's like true to who I am. You know, like I enjoy.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. She's real. No, it's the truth. No, but hold on here. Now I'm going to come full circle. Okay. Deidre will also tell you how it is, whether you want to hear it or not. Okay, tells you exactly how it is. So when there is a an inventory shortage, okay, Deidre is not afraid of her clients. And again, this is for the benefit of the listeners. And you can debate it, right? She's not afraid of her clients. So she tells her clients what to come in at, when they need to write over. And if they say, well, I don't think so, she'll say, well, then you're not going to get the house.
We just went through this.
Yeah, go ahead, talk about it.
We just went through this with a great client of mine. He wanted to come in, I don't know, $60,000 under where we went. And he had all of his reasons. And I just said, stop. You want this house? Well, yeah. I'm like, then you're not going to get it with this offer. Well, I looked at, Zillow, I looked at the price per square foot. I'm like, no, it doesn't, then you must not want it. This must be an exercise we're going to try.
This is the exact language you guys should use. She's not telling a story. I remember the first deal or two she was doing, I was in the office. And I'm like, she's talking to a client? And I'm like, oh God, finally, this is what it's about. You're in control and she's in control. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Go on, but she says, stop, you don't want the house.
Right, so long story short, he said, okay, let me talk to my wife. And he called back and he went up, but not enough. He goes, that good enough? I said, no, we just went through this. It's gotta be this or you're not gonna get it. And so he trusted me.
She has that tone and that sound of impatience in her voice. And no, you're not gonna get it. And again, this is for the benefit the podcast is for. Yeah. Real estate agents, the best knowledge here.
They're not
hiring with her passion. Go on, yes.
They're not hiring us to tell us, no one's asking me to represent them and to be a buyer or seller to tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
They're asking me to be transparent. So they may not agree with me or listen to me, which is fine, but I'm not doing my job unless I'm explaining it to them and telling them straight up, we can list your house at $1 million. It's going to trade at 750, but we can list where you want, but it's not.
Yeah, I guess the takeaway is don't be afraid of the truth, because the truth, it creates, number one, that's really what most buyers and sellers, really what most humans want when they're dealing in these stressful situations, especially around finance and making this big investment into a property is, am I making a horrible decision? And, we just want somebody to say, you know what, that is a bad decision, or no, that's actually a really good decision. And we want the truth. And so you shouldn't be afraid. And Deidre, obviously you're not afraid to tell your clients the truth. And that's probably one of the big reasons why you're so successful.
It is a reason why she's successful in the transaction.
Sure.
It's a reason why she's successful in the transaction. She's successful in business development because of her passion and her dedication, essentially live flow. If I can speak for you. I also want to talk about being aggressive and stuff like this. And I have little notes on the whiteboard, so I'm looking over the left so the listeners can hear. Business is not going to come to you. And there's an element where you learn somebody in your network might be wanting to buy or sell, right? How do you handle that when you hear about that?
I mean, one of the first big listings I got was I would say a friend of mine now she's one of my closest friends, and they had relocated. Their house was listed with another agent. It wasn't selling. I was trying to give them information, and Ryan's like, drop this off, go bring this to them, all these things. I'm like, no, I can't do that. He goes, fine, then don't. You're not gonna get it. Then stop talking. No, I am gonna do that. Okay, all right. And I have now done 4 transactions for them, and literally our kids are best friends, and they are 2 of my closest friends. They have moved from Western Springs to California to Hinsdale to Western Springs and so forth. And
you carry that through your process. Now, when you hear somebody is considering making a move, you go for the kill.
Yeah.
In a sense.
And
the kill is going.
No, go.
It's just driving the house.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone,
Yeah.
going right for it, and I want the listeners to hear, it's like, it's our job. You can't think and you can't be worried.
No.
What is it? Success comes outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You got to get over yourself.
Right. Got to get out of your way.
Got to get out of your own way.
Or else you can talk yourself out of anything.
Anybody can and everybody will.
There's enough room for everybody.
Mhm.
I am fortunate I get along with like all agents. I have a really good relationship. So I don't care if you do 1 deal a year or 500 million a year. It doesn't matter. Everyone is on the same playing field in my room, So.
And as as a consumer, I'm not a producing realtor, but as somebody who just went through the process myself of buying a property, I just wanted somebody to come to me and say, hey, you're going to go do that. Here's everything you need to know. I didn't want to have to search out that information because I'm busy. I have a lot going on. So does everyone's clients who are in the process of thinking about buying or selling. And so I love the fact that you were able to, to race over to that first listing, even though they had a previous agent, and just say, I want to work with you and here's what I can do for you. I mean, it's funny. It's not a sales tactic at all. It's actually saying, I see that you have a need for this and I can assist you. And I think it's just so powerful because as somebody who just went through it, I had to seek out a lot of this information on my own. And it really is time consuming. It's taxing, it's stressful. And I just love when people will approach me saying, I heard you're doing this. I can help you with that. It doesn't happen as often as we might think, being that we're all realtors. We're thinking that people are approaching our network all the time. They're probably not getting approached that much, other than maybe they get a mailer once in a while from some random realtor they've never heard of.
Right.
How about, do you charge what you're worth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you hold the line?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So if you didn't hear that, Ryan asked her, do you charge what you're worth and do you hold the line? So we're in an era where we know there's discount brokerages, there's discount brokers, there's people that will do a listing for $500. There's all sorts of ways to race to the bottom of the commission sort of scale. Can you talk a little bit about how you have that conversation with your clients?
I mean, I'm full service. So
Yeah.
It's kind of you pay for what you get. I'm not just, anyone can stick a sign in the ground and put it on. It's getting through the whole transaction. I explain that to them. I talk to them. I meet in person.
Are you willing to walk away from something that somebody doesn't want to pay?
Yes. 3 years ago, no way. Now I'm like, no way.
That's the most important thing to hear. 3 years ago, yes. Now, no way.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes right. Same with the real estate brokerage. There are 100% commission brokerage firms. I won't work like this we put what we put in to be paid. Will pay. Everybody has to hold the line and know what their value is. The reason being, all of us have, Terry Johnson, if you're listening, all of us have more money than we have time.
Yeah.
And we have got to understand that our time is the most valuable thing we have. It's not worth it. Let somebody else go work for free.
And I've had people recently, someone said to me, well, if we buy and sell, are you going to do it for this? And I said, no. She said, well, someone else offered me that. And I said, that's great. It's okay if you go with them. You have to do what's best for you. I'm like, I don't do it.
Yeah, you don't have to. So if you go about this the correct way, if you have an auto flow program, you have a live flow program, and you follow the system, there's so much business out there that you can pick and choose.
You're almost interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you.
100%. And there's revenue, but then there's revenue and there's profitable revenue. I worked a lot of my years for revenue until I said, I'm not doing it anymore. My money, my time, my skill set is worth so much I'm holding the line, and I'm only going to work on profitable revenue. But I do the things I need to do to continually grow my business. These are those things you need to do to continue to grow your business. You can let somebody else go through that. And I'm telling you, cliches are cliches for a reason, because they're true. No good deed ever goes unpunished.
Right.
No good deed ever goes unpunished. And you do it, you put yourself last, you put your family last. It's a time suck, and you are the bad person at the end of it. And it's just not worth it. And with these quote unquote disruptors that have been around for 20 years now, that want to work at 100% discount, whatever, they have done nothing but show the value that we bring to the marketplace. It's been incredibly helpful. Wouldn't you agree?
It's a similar argument to where people realtors sometimes get upset with some firms that discount like maybe a Redfin, for example, or a Zillow even. And what I found in interviewing top producers from all over the country is that top producers aren't concerned about Redfin or Zillow at all, because they know the value they provide. They understand why they're charging what they charge. They're able to communicate that, and they have a string of happy clients behind them to say it's absolutely worth it to hire this person. So I would say for anyone listening or watching, and I would love to hear your guys' opinion as well, is you need to be able to vigorously defend what you charge. And it doesn't have to come from a defensive position, but you need to be able to say, here's why I'm worth, is exactly what Deidre said. Like, here's what I'm worth. Here's why I'm worth this. And if you want to go with a discount broker, there's many of them to choose from, but here's why I charge what I charge.
Right. It's such an interesting business. You brought up Zillow and Redfin in the same sentence, and I'm going to, if I can, I'll make a clarifying
Sure.
on that, if I can, for the listeners that are interested in this part of the business. Real estate brokerage is a funny business. Inman came out with a study, and the average profit margin for a real estate brokerage is 3%. Now compare that to a profit margin of corporate America at 8.5% for the past 25 years. It's almost 300% greater for corporate America company than a real estate brokerage. Now you have your traditional brokerages out there. You have your Coldwell Bankers, you have your Berkshires, you have your Remax of the world, correct? Sure. Then you have your multi-level companies, the multi-level pyramid selling-based companies. Those are the Keller Williams and
EXP.
Yeah. Right. They're very similar to like the Pampered Chefs, the Rodans and Fields. That pyramid level selling, right? The average profit margin of those companies is 3% or less. You have another company coming into the marketplace, Compass. Okay, sure. Compass is backed. The CEO of Compass is the chief of staff of Goldman Sachs. And they went on a gigantic acquisition spree. They're backed by SoftBank. They bought so many real estate companies since 2012. They did $3.7 billion in sales last year. But you saw that they lost $280 million in their filing. Did you notice that? Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I did not know that.
So it's interesting. Well, why would they do that? And I'm explaining the industry to the listeners here. It's incredibly important to know about your business and your industry and what's going on. Compass is trying to come across as a technology company. They bought Contactually. Why are they trying to come across as a technology company? Because they want an IPO. They want to get a valuation that they're not a technology company. They're a traditional real estate brokerage. Yeah. In the pudding, they're losing money, like most real estate brokerages do. Redfin is a disruptor. It's got an amazing technology. I love their technology.
Incredible technology, yeah.
They have just made a mistake in trying to compete with real estate brokerages at even lower prices, and Redfin's not going to make a profit. Zillow is not competition. Zillow is not a real estate brokerage. Zillow is more profitable than all those companies combined. Zillow's customer are agents and loan officers. They sell leads to them. If they want to get in the brokerage business, by all means, go for it. I haven't seen a company yet really making more than a 3% profit margin on it. And so it's really important. The reason I kind of digest and digressed and went down this is I want people to make sure, don't put Redfin and Zillow in the same category. They're two different things. Now, Redfin might be pivoting and selling leads. I think if they pivot, sell leads, and get rid of the discount brokerage business, they actually might start making money. But they've already IPO'd. They got their valuation. Their Goldman Sachs-backed investors made their money and get out. Some of that might not be illegal, but that's what's going on in the IPO market. Companies don't value, the public market, the stock market doesn't value real estate brokers. They don't value mortgage companies. That's why Quicken Loans, which is now called Rocket Mortgage,
right,
traded because they're technology. It's a mortgage. Let's just be real.
Yeah, it's a lead business. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So I'm sorry, I went down a tangent, but I think it's really
No, it's important
for listeners because so many real estate agents were so scared that Zillow is buying showing time. Why? It's in line with their business. They sell products to realtors. Right. They're not competition. Redfin's competition. They're a discount broker. They are quote unquote a disruptor. They're public traded, so they don't need to make money. They continually lose money, and it's been going on almost 20 years. But it's important for you as listeners to educate yourself on your industry, what it is. And at the end of the day, put all that aside, you're running your own business. Get what you're worth. You're not going public. Right. You're not going public. You're running a business. You're spending time away from your family. Charge your fee.
People, I swear, they just sometimes like to ask. I say no, and 90% of them just move on.
100%.
I don't know. It's
you have to be educated as a real estate agent how to hold the line.
Right.
This is why coaching, training, continuing education is so important. Deidre is a huge producer. She still surrenders and is coachable all the time. And going from a 5% listing fee to a 6%, 1% with 50% of her business being list business, meaning that's close to $20 million. That's a $200,000 bottom line swing for her.
huge.
And what do you say? Most people just ask the question and move on.
Yes.
And most realtors just crumble, say, okay, fine, and I'll work for free. Why?
Right.
Most realtors want to cross it off before they even get to the listing presentation. I'm like, stop.
Yep.
And I've also found and that the commission question doesn't come up that often if people like you, know you, and trust you, right? Which isn't always the case when you're meeting with a list, somebody who maybe it's a referral, they don't totally know you yet. But for people that are in that know, like, and trust close sphere, the commission question probably isn't going to come up that often, but you do need to be able to have an answer for why you charge what you charge and why you're worth it. And it's should be pretty easy to defend based on, what your track record is.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go back to what's going on right now. I just had a quick question that I started at the beginning, which was about right now. I know agents representing buyers, it's stressful. It's tough because things are happening so quickly. Money is so cheap that everyone has more purchasing power than they did before. And there's so many more buyers out there. How are you, or what are you, Deidre, what are you talking to your buyers about? How are you coaching them so that they have a good understanding of what's going on so that their expectation is not to blame you when a deal doesn't happen?
Every buyer is different, but from the beginning, I have 2 new buyers that are both in rentals right now. And I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, just stay for a little bit. They've lost so many offers and it keeps happening because I'm like, what you guys want and what you want to pay are 2 different things right now. So you're getting the same result, just wait a little bit. Or, there's not a minute to think. I'm like, we can think during AI. We can, ask all those questions.
Right.
Contract is accepted. I'm like, when we go see this house, we're going to look at comps before we go. We're going to be prepared. And sometimes you have to lose a few.
You just said something that's so profound and I love it. We could think during AI.
Yes.
Elaborate. It's brilliant, by the way.
If you want to shop at a house, then get it under contract. And then during inspection, during attorney approval, those 5 to 10 business days, that's when all those questions can be asked. We can figure out a solution. Just right now, there's no time.
There's no time.
Questions. No. And it's not that I don't want to answer those questions. We can figure it out then.
Were you on today's company call by chance?
No, I was on fire.
Okay, cool. So in today's company call, what I also told everybody in this market, right? Because we have these dashboards and we look at pie charts of everybody's business. And most people's business is 80% active clients, buyers, because there's no inventory. Well, we talk about live flow. Well, when you reach out to your network, like she did, she made dinners, she writes cards, sends champagne, you're getting married, your kid graduated kindergarten, you got a new Labrador retriever, really nice things to reach out to, but don't make the sales call. However, right now, there is no better way to make yourself look like a player. I'm going to refer to Terry Johnson, right? You could be a victim or you could be a player, right? A victim is woe is me. A player is like, I make things happen. I have a positive mindset. That's what life is all about, right? It's like, be a player in life. Well, right now it's very difficult because I'm an agent, let's say, and I've had more buyers than I've ever had in my life, and there's no inventory. So I could go victim path and be pissed off, or I go player path and say, you know what, I have 250 people in my network. I'm going to text everybody one by one, report that I didn't flow with them, be like, hey, just, I'm working with 15 buyers. In case you or any of your friends or families know somebody who wants to sell a home, would you please let me know? I got to put these 15 people in a home. What did you just do? You made yourself look like a player to your network. So when the market shifts, and the market will shift, and it becomes a neutral market, and people start putting their homes on the market to sell, who do you think they're going to say, well, let's call our home? They say, well, let's call Ryan. Let's call Deidre. She's got all those buyers. We want to list our home. There's silver lining to everything. You got to step back and be like, how do I leverage these opportunities to position myself for tomorrow? This is the best time to communicate to your entire network. You've got 5, 10, 20 buyers. Know anybody looking to buy or sell a home? So when they think about selling, they're going to call you.
It's a great piece of advice. I love that. And probably a great place to sort of wrap up this conversation as well. And I want to just make a couple of quick points here that for anyone out there who might not be a realtor and is looking to work with a top producing realtor here in the Chicagoland area, Deidre, if they're looking to work with you, what would be the best way that a buyer, a seller, a renter, an investor could reach out to you?
They can use my cell phone.
Sure.
875-7608. And I have a website, DeidreRudich.com. April Properties website is super easy to use and super easy to find people.
But Google Deidre Rudich.
Yeah,
D-E-I-D-R-E. There's no D-E-I-D-R-E.
Google pages. Yes.
We should just call the website D.
I don't know. Not there yet.
And for also anyone out there who is a realtor in the Chicagoland area, if you're looking to see what other firms offer, April Properties might be a great fit for you. They have offices all over the Chicagoland area and in the neighboring states. And the best way to do that is just go to their website, DeAprilProperties.com, fill out a contact form, and somebody from their team will reach out to you and tell you more about what they offer. And one of the big things they do is some of the automated marketing. In addition to all the coaching and support, the automated marketing is really, really unique and powerful. And Ryan, do you mind just really quickly mentioning that before we jump off?
Sure. Yes. So we will do the marketing for our agents. We'll do the direct mail. We'll do the email marketing. In every office, there's a managing broker, but there's also 2, 3, sometimes 4 office managers and marketing assistants. We make marketing local in the office. And you can do above and beyond, but we just will do your baseline marketing for you consistently every month. Because when you're faced with having to do it yourself, like there are real estate companies out there right now, I won't even mention them, but they're writing checks to get agents to come on board.
Sure.
It's very dangerous because that check will then just get into your checking account and then you're paying bills. Fine. That's going to get you through 3 months. But that money needs to be invested into marketing. That's the point of marketing dollars for people. So what we say is, let's just take it. Let's focus on you. Let's spend 4 years on building a brand name, because consumers don't hire real estate brokerages.
Right.
They're agents. And the agents, you got to continue to create a brand for yourself in your network, in your community.
Couldn't agree more. So if you're interested in learning more about April Properties, go to DeAprilProperties.com. And on behalf of our audience, Deirdre and Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the show, and really appreciate your insight and your coaching. And congrats, Deirdre, on all the success you're having. It's truly incredible. And we wish you obviously the best going forward. And on behalf of Deirdre, Ryan, and myself, we also want to thank the audience for continuing to support our show. Please, before you sign off, tell a friend. Think of one other real estate professional that could benefit from hearing these great interviews with top producers and coaching sessions with Ryan, and send them a link to our website. You can just go right to keepingitrealpod.com, or if the person you know listens to podcasts, pull up a podcast app, search for Keeping It Real, and hit the subscribe button. Other than that, we will see everyone on our next episode. And Ryan, we will see you next month. And Deirdre, thanks for being on our show.
Thanks for having me. It's great.
Thanks, DJ.